Has Cadillac's three-row crossover aged well over the past 6 years? Let's find out. I'm Jay, and this is Modern Motoring. Welcome to the 2025 Cadillac XT6 three-row crossover. And this is going to be a little different of a review. It'll be a Perks, Quirks, and Irks, going back to what I did a few years ago. Because, well, this is still the first generation. It's been around for 6 model years right now. It started in 2020. And, well, it's nothing really new to report because it's a carryover model. So that's why we're doing the Perks, Quirks, and Irks. So let's go with some basic numbers to start. 2 engine options. The luxury trim, which is the base trim, runs off a 2-liter turbo 4, 237 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. The premium luxury and the sport trim, which is what I have here, run off a 3.6-liter V6, 310 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. In Canada, it's all-wheel drive, which comes standard, and a 9-speed automatic, regardless of the engine that you get. Let's start off with the perks, and standard safety is definitely one of them. Here's what you get: forward collision alert, your front pedestrian braking, your front and rear park assist, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, and rear cross traffic alert. Over and above the safety side of things, every XT6 gets a big panoramic sunroof where the front part opens and the rear part is stationary. You get your wireless Apple CarPlay, your wireless Android Auto. Carrying on with the perks side, it's a very spacious interior, and even though it's all black in here, it feels a lot wider. I don't feel cramped in at all in the driver's seat, and I haven't felt this way the entire time I've had the vehicle. The seats are extremely comfortable. I will say that. I can definitely see myself doing much longer road trips here. You also get exceptional power here through the V6 engine. I don't think that tiny little 2-liter turbo 4 would do anyone any favors. As with all Cadillacs, the ride quality is soft and supple and plush and eats up all the imperfections in the road. And if you're looking for something with a bit of a firmer suspension, you're not really going to find it here. This is for the driver that really likes that couch on wheels type of drive feel, as opposed to hard and stiff and just a little more on the rigid side. And I personally like this drive feel over the alternative. I don't mind a bit of a balance, but if I had to pick one between soft, in between, and very rigid, I'm definitely going to go on the Cadillac side because I love the soft ride quality here. I find the exterior design has aged very well. It's still edgy and it's not quite outdated. Think of that last generation, I guess maybe 2 generations ago, of the Volvo XC90, where sure, it looked good when it came out, but after year 5 of, I think, 12, it really started to show its age. But I think the Cadillac design team has done a great job here, and it's still reflective through the rest of the Cadillac lineup as far as the SUVs go, but having a lot of those vertical lights, a nice tall stance, just enough contouring to help it stand out. And the last perk here is you can get the XT6 with either 6 or 7 seats. It comes with 7 seats, and the way my vehicle has been spec'd is it's, I think, $920 to go for the 2 captain's chairs in the second row. And we'll get to more of the pricing side of things later on in the video. On to the quirky side of things, and there's really not much. It's an older vehicle, and I find most of my quirks come with newer vehicles, but I've found a few on the website. You have to really dig in and get to the build page before they show you the horsepower and torque figures. It's not on the spec sheet or the spec page. Again, you've got to go in to the build, select your model, and then it shows up. It's a little bit of a weird thing for me. Another quirk is the premium luxury and the sport trims are priced the same. I know there's a strategy behind it, and it's not only for the XT6, but I've always found it a little weird, and try and separate it a little more. And, you know, I think there's a little more value to be had in one of them. I haven't driven the premium luxury, and actually the last time I had an XT6 was the year it came out in 2020, and that's why I booked this one, because I was thinking, well, it's been quite a while since we've had one of these XT6s on the channel. It's a weird one. It's not the first time I've mentioned it, but on the rear of this one with 3.6-liter V6, it has 400 on the right side of the tailgate, and Cadillac has opted to go with that for Newton meters. It's 271 pound-feet of torque, and again, 310 horsepower. I found these numbers to be just a little on the weird side, quirky side, I guess, because it's in this quirky column. Now on to the Irks side, and we'll start with the infotainment system. It's really odd to see a tiny 8-inch screen in a luxury vehicle that starts at 65,000 Canadian dollars. And sure, it looks nice and it's easy to navigate, and it's not always about having the biggest screen. You know, I'm not saying it has to be like a Mercedes or even a Ford with their massive tablet, but I think this might push some people the other way, or at least have them test drive a few other vehicles outside of what was on their initial short list. And I know it's something that wouldn't sway me, because I do like having physical hard touch buttons, and they're here for some of the HVAC controls. You still have the haptic controls for your heated seats and optional cooled seats, and a few other controls, but I don't think that was the right move to keep that small 8-inch screen here. There's room to go a little bigger, but that's just me on that. The interior is starting to look a little dated, which contrasts the exterior, but the interior, again, with that small 8-inch screen, the two big analog dials for the instrument cluster, the chunky gear selector, and that little rotary dial just behind it. It's, to me, not standing up as well as the exterior, and some people just want to have the Cadillac experience, and in that case, this is great for them. And some people want to have physical hard touch buttons and two big analog dials. That's good and fine. I don't know how it's gonna stand up to the rest of the class, both luxury and non-luxury, because I think almost every competitor does have either standard or an option for a fully digital instrument cluster. Let's jump into the pricing side of things. So the luxury trim, with all the fees in, except for your taxes, comes in at $65,233. The premium luxury and the sport, which are priced the same, come in at $70,633. So it's $5,400 more. As tested price here from Cadillac Canada rings in at a bit of an eye-watering figure, $86,994. They've put some pretty hefty add-ons. There's a platinum package for around $10,000, and the highlights of those are the Super Cruise system and leather seats. There's a tech package for about $3,000. Highlights of that include an 8-inch screen in the instrument cluster, a digital rearview mirror, and a 360-degree camera. And finally, there's a driver assist package for about $2,300, and that gets you your adaptive cruise control, your automatic emergency braking, and rear automatic braking. And as mentioned, it's about $920 for the 6-seat configuration as opposed to the 7. So that gets you your 2 captain's chairs in the middle for a 2+2+2 configuration. Car is stopped because there is a lot of competition to go through, and I just can't memorize all of it. So part of what goes against the XT6 is the newness of the competition. I know the XC90 isn't out yet, but it's coming out as 2026, and it is completely redesigned from the ground up. And even the current 2025 XC90 doesn't look too bad. So that's one competitor. There's the Acura MDX. I know it's still part of the current generation, but they got rid of that ridiculous trackpad. And to me, that warrants enough of an upgrade to keep it as a key competitor. There's Infinity's QX60. There's a Lexus RX. You may not see this as a direct competitor, but I do. It's the new Mazda CX-90. Mazda's in its own little lane as far as being in the premium segment of things. So I definitely include that. There's both the Lincoln Aviator, because that's the 3-row, and the Lincoln Nautilus, which is all new. But the Nautilus is only 2 rows, the Aviator is 3, but the price point brings it closer to the Nautilus, so I'm putting them both in there. Internally on GMC One platform, there are 4 vehicles in total. There's this, there's the Buick Enclave, the Chevy Traverse, and the GMC Acadia. Let's push aside the Traverse, let's push aside the Acadia. We had the Enclave a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it is astoundingly good. It's everything that I feel that the XT6 should be. And yes, I know that Cadillac's the luxury brand and Buick's the premium brand, but I found Buick and Mazda are really close, but Mazda is a little higher to me as far as quality goes. And I would put Mazda CX-90 closer to the XT6 as I would to the Buick Enclave. Finally, we have the mainstream offerings, and they're definitely not luxury, but some of them are flirting in the premium space. And they include the Kia Telluride, the Hyundai Palisade, Volkswagen Atlas, Nissan Pathfinder. You may disagree with me on this, but I'm going to put the Kia EV9 as a 3-row. I know it's not a gasoline vehicle or a hybrid vehicle, but it's so well put together, and they're doing pretty well as far as getting them out into the public. So I'm going to put that there with a little bit of an asterisk. That's going to wrap the video up. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you have any questions on the 2025 Cadillac XT6, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate the support, and I invite you to join our social media community. We are on all the major platforms. So with that, thank you again. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.